Hello, hi everybody. We just started the webinar a bit earlier, but we'll give it a few more minutes for participants to join. Yeah. Thanks so much. A reminder that we do have English and Indonesian interpretation set up, so yeah, do be sure to select the correct language at the bottom of your screen. Yeah. Hi again, everybody. We'll start the webinar in about 2 or 3 minutes while we wait for more attendees to join. And a reminder to select the correct language, either English or Indonesian, under the interpretation button. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, we'll just give it 1 more minute. And again, do remember to select the correct language. Thanks so much. Hi, Eric. Hello. Thanks for joining. And hopefully we have a good number of smallholders as well. So that's always welcome. Yeah, I believe we can start now. And so once again, final reminder, do remember to choose the correct language. We have English and Bahasa set up. And also a reminder that the webinar will be recorded. Yep. So thanks so much for joining the webinar today. This is the second of 3 webinars. Yesterday, we had a catch-up webinar for GPSNR members. Today, we are discussing capacity building and smallholders inclusion, some updates over the last 6 months, and projected plans. And tomorrow, there'll be another webinar going through all of the resolutions that will be up for voting at the General Assembly. So thanks so much for joining. Hi, Pat Fabrice. Yep, thanks for joining. So this is a quick overview of today's webinar. We'll do a quick introduction of the Capacity Building Working Group, and then we have presentations by SMV Proforest and Koltiva, and we'll open up the floor for some questions after each presentation. These are 2 projects that have started in June 2022, covering good agricultural practices coaching in Indonesia. So very excited to have that presentation and of course to have the project started. And towards the end, I'll present a summary, a roundup of smallholders engagement in 2022, as well as the plans for 2023. And I just saw that Gerhard has joined. So I'd like to introduce Gerhard as the new co-chair of the smallholders, of the Capacity Building Working Group. And yeah, Gerhard, I believe this is your first time speaking to a wider membership. So I'll hand over this slide to you. Yeah.
So thank you very much, Seyuan, for the introduction. And as Seyuan mentioned, I joined the Capacity Building Working Group as a co-chair, and I hope we will achieve our goals in the future, and I hope I can contribute to it. Just one comment, I think I mentioned it in previous calls. Since Zoom is actually not our standard communication tool, I have to keep the camera switched off. So, and I will just give a short overview, and then probably you can continue with moderation. So currently we have on the capacity building working group platform, so to say, we have two major activities or groups. That is the national subgroups consisting of an Indonesian and Thailand and a subgroup in Cote d'Ivoire. And we have the task force, which currently addresses three major topics. That is implementing a digital knowledge sharing platform. One group that is dealing with agroforestry, and one that is dealing with a gap, so the so-called good agricultural practices. The national subgroups in Indonesia, Thailand, and Cote d'Ivoire have different focuses, so to say. So in Indonesia, we identified especially a gap in good agricultural practices, so to say. We observe considerable problems with diseases. Recently, the Pestalozziopsis disease. And Indonesia is also or has some problems with the clonal material. That is, the existing planting material is compared to available material not very productive. In Thailand, there is only one aspect that is treated by or dealt with by the capacity building working group, and that is agroforestry. That's a major topic. In Cote d'Ivoire, we have three different focuses compared to Indonesia. First is the use of rubber wood. Since so far the rubber wood is not used technically in Africa. It's a common source of timber for wood products in Southeast Asia, but in Cote d'Ivoire it's usually burned or used, or it's just decayed in the field. Then another target is to promote cooperatives, and finally to establish training centers and demo sites. So that's an overview, and I would hand over to you, Yuan, for the further moderation. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you so much, Gerhard. And yeah, prior to taking on the co-chair role, Gerhard has been all along very active, especially at the Indonesia, Thailand subgroups, as well as the various projects on digital knowledge sharing platform and the good agricultural practices. So very thankful for Gerhard to volunteer to take up this role. And indeed, we look forward to kickstarting a bunch of projects this year. And that's where we will head on to the second part of today's webinar. So we have today with us Ibu Ilahang from SNV. She is leading a project together with ProForest on GAP coaching in Indonesia. And this is supported by a capacity building grant from GIZ. So just let me change the slides now for Ibu Ilahang to present. I believe it's this, Ibu Ilahang.
Good afternoon, everyone, and good morning. My name is Ilahang from SNV. I want to presentation about our project with the GPSNR, and we call the GPSNR Smallholder GAP coaching in Indonesia. This project collaborate SNV and ProForest. The next here. Yeah, the background of the GAP coaching smallholder in Indonesia, as we know, 85% the production, the natural rubber production in Indonesia from the smallholders. But as we know, the smallholder in Indonesia have the problem about the low productivity, the low quality, and about the farmer organization. If we talk about the low productivity, we can say that the low productivity because of the quality of planting material, because so many smallholders, it's difficult to access the high quality planting material. So they use the planting material from the jungle rubber, or we call seedling, or unselected seedling. And then the low productivity because of the poor application of GAP. Yeah, because so many smallholder in Indonesia, difficult to access the training, the GAP training, because in Indonesia, not specially officer, what's the name? The extension officer for the rubber. It's more for the food crop. And then the other problem for the smallholder about the low quality. The low quality because of the smallholder is difficult. Poor application of GAP because they like I say before that, because they lack of knowledge, difficult to access the training, and then difficult to access for input production like coagulant, taping knife, cup of latex, yeah, like that. And then the rubber farmers, it's a bit different with the small the oil palm farmers. They have no farmer organization like cooperative, because in Indonesia, no what's the rubber producer, rubber processor didn't push them to join in a farmer organization. If we talk here in production, we see here, if we divide three production: smallholder, state estate, private estate, the production of smallholder very low than to estate for state and private estate. The big five province for production rubber Indonesia: North Sumatra, Riau, Jambi, South Sumatra, and West Kalimantan. Yeah, this is the source of this report from the Great Investment Asia. The next. Yeah. GPSNR with the capacity building working group through the task force GAP developed 5 modules. The first module about the rubber planting material. The second module about the establishment and maintenance of plantation. The third about the latex harvesting, and then the last about the disease and pests. Yeah, in a rubber planting material module, the key recommendation here to use the clonal material that have the certified from the Badut Garden, that have the certified, and then the clone need to be adapted the specific regional or local condition, and then the production need to follow the strict of GPSNR guidance and GAP, and the quality of planting material, for figure homogeneity, and clonal conformity. And the second, about the establishment and maintenance of plantation, the key recommendation here adjust with the GPSNR policy framework about the zero deforestation, no peatland area for development, no development in high conservation value or high carbon stock area. And then the land preparation, organic residue, and soil respect. In latex harvesting, using the opening norms like that, and then the next part, the next one. I will give the illustration of the SNP and ProForest approach to GPSNR capacity building program. We see here the GPSNR provide the GAP and then provide the policy framework. SNP and ProForest will contextualization the GAP and policy framework, and then we call this is the GAP version 2. In a version, the GAP version 2 will give to what's the name, the trainer in a rubber fractional network, and then the trainer in a rubber fractional network will give the training for the smallholder using the GAP version 2. And then in the same time, SNP and Forest try to analyze the policy commitment from the tire maker or the downstream. And then GAP, SNP and Forest collaboration with the rubber processor that close with the area of our intervention. And then to select the trainer for the rubber fractioner, SNV will engage some various stakeholders. For example, the local NGO, the member of GAPKindo, the member of GPSNR in that area. And then we select some of the key person here to be a trainer here. And then from the smallholder, they can produce the production and sells to factory. And factory here will can give the incentive, provide incentive for the smallholder, for the trainer here. And then the tire maker can support the drum rubber factory. The next, yeah, this is the 4 activity from SNV and ProForest. Yeah, we begin in phase 1 for the inception activity. We will conduct the adaptation of GAP and policy framework of GPSNR into practical training materials that will deliver to the smallholders through the TOT and the smallholder training. Parallel with this activity, SNV and ProForest will engagement with the local rubber cram processor in the selected region, to get buy-in and support for the capacity building process. For example, commitment for provide the incentive in this program. In the second phase, the scoping activity we will engagement with the various stakeholders in that region to select the potential trainer to join in a rubber fractional network. And then we will develop the general risk and need assessment of the smallholder in the region, for Jambi and West Kalimantan, based on the suggestion from the national subgroup of Indonesia. We will prioritize of the area of suitable for capacity building and selection of potential trainer in a candidate based on the engagement with the various stakeholders. The third implementation, we will establish the natural rubber fractioner network, or we call the smallholder hub. After that, we will implementation of the training of trainers in 2 regions, and after that, the trainer from the second activity in the 3rd phase will conduct the training for the smallholder. In the last phase, we can conduct the monitoring and evaluation of the activity for 2 times monitoring in March and September, the end of project. Okay, the next. Yeah, for the selection intervention area, we have the indicator for the selection. The first indicator, more than 60% of the community, if this village or area from the income, the main income from the rubber plantation. And after that, the second indicator for the intervention area, difficult to access the training for improving the production, for improving the productivity and quality. And then after that, we will find the crumb rubber processor that have the high likelihood to become a supply base of be off-taker in this project. As we know that in Indonesia, the 5 region for the big production, so SNV will intervention based on our discussion in a task force. We will select Sintang or location that suggested by national subgroup in West Kalimantan and then in Jambi, or based on the suggestion from the task force capacity building. The next, sure. Okay. If we talk about the deliverable for this project, SNV and ProForest will coach 2,000 rubber smallholder in a 2 region in Jambi and West Kalimantan, 1,000 in Jambi and 1,000 in West Kalimantan. Sorry, and then for train 2,000 rubber smallholder, we will train 80 trainers, 4 trainers in Jambi and 40 trainers in West Kalimantan. Yeah, related with the monitoring and evaluation of coaching progress and outcome, we will monitor about the increasing of productivity, inclusivity across gender, age, geographic region, and ethnicity. And then SNV and ProForest will provide the slide deck report, quarterly, and the final report as narrative report and slide deck. The next. Yeah, the next step, SNV and ProForest will work with the GPSNR to combine the GAP and policy framework and adapt it into practical training material for the smallholder. This activity will discuss with the GAP task force regularly before delivering in what's the name, in the TOT. And then in July we will engage the rubber crumb processor close with that our area intervention in Jambi and West Kalimantan involve not only one crumb rubber processor in that area, but we will involve more than one that interest with our program. And then, yeah, we will engagement with the various stakeholder in the West Kalimantan and Jambi to find the potential trainer. After that, we will conduct the assessment for the risk and need assessment in the area intervention. The next part. Yeah, this is the timeline. Our project, we divided for activity with the key deliverable. Yeah, okay. The next part. Thank you for everyone. Over to you, Siwan.
Thank you so much, Ibu Ilham. And at this time, we have about 10 minutes for any questions for Ibu Ilham. Feel free to write them down in the chat or the Q&A function, or if you wish to speak, you can raise your hand and we can unmute you. Yeah. Pak Fabrice, yeah.
Baik, terima kasih kepada Ibu Ilham yang sudah menyampaikan program yang akan dilaksanakan untuk pelatihan di saya sih ingin bertanya, ini kapan mau dimulai programnya? Itu saja dulu. Kita ingin tahu kapan mau dimulai programnya. Kemudian pertanyaan kedua, apakah ada dibuat perbandingan atau studi lah yang sebelum di training, apakah ada data itu? Bagaimana dengan kemampuan si petani, supaya nanti pada akhir training kita tahu apa ada perkembangan atau tidak dari proses coaching ini. Ini dulu Bu pertanyaannya, terima kasih.
Directly to answer, Siwan? Or waiting for another question?
Ibu Ilham, you're a bit soft. I'm not sure if it's just me.
I can answer?
You can answer in Bahasa or English.
Okay.
Up to you.
Oke, Pak Febri, terima kasih atas pertanyaannya. Proyek ini akan segera kita laksanakan. Sebenarnya di dalam bulan Juni ini kami sudah mencoba mengengage beberapa kerap rubber processor yang tertarik untuk program kita. Misalnya di West Kalimantan kita engage the Kirana Megatara and then the Halcyon Group. In Jambi we approach the Kirana juga and then approach the Halcyon Group, approach the ABP to join in our program and to see untuk melihat bagaimana ketertarikan mereka terhadap program ini. Kemudian selanjutnya kita di bulan Juli akan memulai melakukan kontekstualisasi good agriculture modul yang disiapkan oleh GPSNR dan akan di-combine dengan policy framework-nya GPSNR di dalam bentuk satu modul. Kemudian kita akan diskusikan dengan GAP Task Force di Capacity Building. Setelah mendapat approval persetujuan dari GAP Task Force, kita kemudian akan mendeliver modul tersebut melalui TOT. Kemudian pertanyaan kedua terkait apakah kita akan melakukan studi kondisi sebelum dilakukan pelatihan dan setelah dilakukan pelatihan. Untuk record kami sendiri, kami akan melakukan baseline untuk kelompok tani atau desa yang akan dilakukan intervensi. Kemudian kita juga akan melakukan monitoring terhadap kelompok tani atau community-community yang sudah kita berikan pelatihan. Nah, untuk record cepat kita juga akan untuk melihat perubahan atau penambahan knowledge petani, kita akan adakan nanti yang cepat ada pre-test dan post-test, tetapi itu untuk melihat apakah dia bisa menerima materi yang kita berikan. Kemudian pengaruh atau dampak terhadap training itu kita akan lakukan monitoring dan pencatatan kepada petani-petani yang sudah kita berikan pelatihan. Demikianlah jawaban dari saya, Pak Febri. Semoga bisa memenuhi pertanyaan Pak Febri. Terima kasih. Over to you, Siwan.
Thank you, Pak Febris. Thank you, Ibu Ilham. Again, we have about 5 minutes left. Open for any questions. Ibu Ilham, we have a question. The question is, can I ask Ibu Ilham how to establish the quality system, including processing, the inspection, and the factory, and quality guarantee? Ibu Ilham, you can see the question in the Q&A button.
For the quality system, we will establish in what's the name, the monitoring, and we will provide one of the
Sorry, Si Yuan, may you repeat the question, please?
Yes. Can I ask Ibu Ilham how to establish the quality system, including processing, inspection out of the factory, and quality guarantee?
Saya akan menjawab pertanyaan tersebut. I will answer for that question. We will collaborate with the tram rubber processor that join in this project to monitor the quality that the rubber production sell to their factory. Yeah, they can regular information, give the information to rubber fractioner network about the quality of the rubber come to their factory, and then the trainer in a rubber fractioner or the smallholder hub will have the internal control system deliver for the smallholder group to ensure the quality of rubber. Thank you.
Thank you, Ibu Ilham. And I think we can have time for 2 more questions. From Saifo, who is a smallholder from Koltiva. I've used Google Translate for this. I believe the first question is, what is the contribution of processors to this project? That's the first question. And the second question is, how will zero deforestation and zero burning be conducted in the project?
The contribution of the cram rubber processor in this project depend on the commitment of the cram rubber. For example, the cram rubber processor can provide the incentive for the trainer that success to train the smallholder group, and then the smallholder group sell their production to, for example, we call the X cram rubber factory, based on the tonnages, the weight that come to the factory. Yeah, so, some of the factory have the scheme to provide incentive, not only provide the incentive cash money, they can provide the coagulant subsidy coagulant that can give to the smallholder group, and then can give, for example, the planting material, the program planting material, or they can transfer knowledge for the smallholder, how to improve the productivity, how to improve the quality, and give the premium price for the good quality that sell to the ex-Cram Rubber Factory, like that. And about the zero deforestation, this what's the name? As we know, in Indonesia, so many smallholder conduct the land preparation before using the burning. So what's the name? So we need not to push. We will give the advocation to avoid using the burning. Oh no, not the burning. Using the burning for land preparation, and then for the zero deforestation, yeah, we can improve increase the productivity, so they didn't conduct the deforestation in that area. And what's the name, from the previous project with Proforest, what's the name, we bring the farmer to give to give a coordinates, some of the coordinate, so they know which that area for rubber plantation. So we introduce to the smallholder which one the border of the work, for example, the national park, the protected area, so they didn't what's the name, expand to that area, like that. I hope it will answer your question. Thank you, Siwan.
And Ibrahim, we just have time for one more question. You can answer very quickly. I think from Park Sahala. He asked, is it only Jambi and Kalimantan, South Kalimantan, who can receive training? We can use that as the final question. And for others, we can take it at the end of the webinar. Yeah.
Okay. Pak Sahala, pelatihan tidak hanya dilaksanakan pelatihan akan dilaksanakan di Kalimantan Barat dengan memilih Kabupaten Sintang, dan tergantung dari nanti pabrik karet yang akan kita engage. Jadi berdasarkan supply base-nya. Kemudian yang di Sumatera kita akan melakukan pelatihan di Jambi, dan potensial area juga akan kita lakukan pelatihan di Sumatera Selatan dan Riau, tergantung dari nasional subgroup di mana mereka menginginkan kita melakukan pelatihan. Terima kasih, Pak. Thank you.
Iya, terima kasih, Mbak.
All right, thank you.
May I add
thank
something?
you. I'm just looking at time, so we'll move on to the next.
Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry, Joe, I think you need to change the language. Sorry, thank you. So we can leave any questions to the end of the webinar, or we can answer over email. Yeah. Thanks so much. We'll go back to this slide. So up next, Luca, we have about 30 minutes presentation by Koltiva. on the Koltiva project, which is also on good agricultural practices in Indonesia. And we are very happy to share that this project is the first joint funding project by GPSNR members, Goodyear and Pirelli. Do let us know. We have a webpage on capacity building pledges, so do let us know and we'll be happy to share more information on that. So without further ado, I'll hand it over to Luca, who will share the screen.
So, 1 minute. I guess you can see it now clearly?
Yep, looks good.
Okay.
Yep. Thanks, Luca.
Okay, good. Yeah, I hope the connection is fine. I'm calling from Sumatra right now. I'm in the field, but for everybody who doesn't know me yet, my name is Luca, and I'm leading at Koltiva our palm oil and rubber projects. And our mission at Koltiva is to make global supply chains inclusive, climate smart, and traceable from seed to table. I will shortly introduce Koltiva for the people on the call who have not heard of it, and then go a bit into our approach to highlight a bit of the differences to traditional approaches. So thank you very much for this opportunity, Suyang and GPSNR and all contributors to this project. So maybe a few words to Koltiva. We call us a technology-enabled service company. We now work with 500,000 producers, smallholder farmers, and small, medium-sized enterprises until large multinational companies in 27 countries. And yeah, we say we are a technology-enabled service company because we on the one side, we are a tech company, and we provide a kind of a software solution with exist of mobile and web applications that include aspect to traceability, recording of farm surveys, training events, but also e-payments and greenhouse gas measurements. But at the same time, Koltiva is not only a technology company, but we also offer the boots on the ground services, which is the main focus of this project, where we actually work together with smallholder farmers to increase their productivity and to improve their sustainability practices. And with this, we basically try to enhance and try to build more inclusive and sustainable supply chains. So, I mean, I think everybody knows the challenges, and I think they still, many rubber farmers, they still face low income. The rubber prices are still very low. Many of these rubber farmers are close to protected areas. So enhancing environmental protection is key, and there's still not much transparency when it comes to the rubber sector. So what Koltiva tries to do is to build really a holistic solution which exists of our software solutions, our application, but also our boots on the ground services. So on the one side, we offer our clients and GPSNR our software solution, which is basically called Kolti Trace, which includes several mobile application and web application. And then in these mobile application, we have integrated our digital payment system, so farmers can receive their payments via e-payment and access also loans. And then on the other side, we have basically our service solution, our boots on the ground services. And this is mainly Kolti Trade, which is not active in the rubber sector, but in cacao and coffee, where our field agents engage in buying the cacao and coffee from the farmers. And then on last, we have our Kolti Skills business line, which is basically, I would say more the traditional NGO services of farmer mapping, farmer training, and farmer coaching in good agricultural practice until carbon verification within the supply chain. We started in Indonesia in 2013, and this is also where our headquarters is based and most of our people are based. But since then, we have expanded significantly global and have now also our first office in Koltiva in Ivory Coast, and also in establishing our office now in Latin America, in Mexico, and several other countries. So when we look at our software solution, we basically have our web application, which can be used by our clients, and including GPSNR, who then can track their progress and can see the farmers that have been trained within the project. And then in this project, we are using two of our mobile applications. This is one of the mobile application is the Koltiva farm extension. Our field agents within this project, they record all the farmers that are registered, all the farmers trained, all the coaching sessions are trained, what coaching sessions the farmer has delivered, for example, if it focused on tapping, etc. This is all registered in the farm extension application when they conduct the training and coaching activities. And then we have our farm gate application, which is a real-time traceability application, which is usually used by dealers and traders. This is not used in the project for now, but our Koltiva Farm Cloud application is used in this project, where which is an application for the farmer where they can access their data. They can also access training material for good agricultural practices, to dig deeper into the knowledge that they have received in the coaching sessions, or to learn about other material. And then we also have an application for agri-input shops, small kiosks selling pesticides and fertilizers to smallholder farmers. So all these applications are connected, and with this we then can establish the traceability, but also show complete transparency from seed to table to our clients. So maybe now a bit more about our project with GPSNR and what are our objectives and goals. So this is a bit of our timeline. As we are planning to train and coach in this project 5,000 smallholder farmers. So this is a really big number. We are aware of that, and we're following here our one-on-one coaching methodology, which I will explain a bit in the beginning. So currently we already started adapting the GPSNR training materials, that the guideline of GPSNR. We are currently adapting that to easily understand material for the smallholder farmers. So this is currently being in process and should be finalized very soon. And then we will have also a session with GPSNR to go through this material. And also a demo session of our application will be piloted. At the same time, we are also currently already in the recruitment process of our field team, and we have our first cluster leader who will managing the field agents on the ground, who will start on Friday within this project. And then already the socialization activities will take place with the local stakeholders, local rubber processors, and local governments and farmers this year. And then in July, August, then the plan is to then start already with our training and coaching activities. We are also the project currently is planned in Jambi and South Sumatra. Of course, it's important that we align with SNB, that we are not working in the same or similar areas. But Ibu Ilang and me, we are both part of the working group, so this is still being discussed where exactly the project is taking place. But this is basically one of our target areas. Because the productivity of smallholders is still very low in Jambi and South Sumatra, and it's also one of the largest areas of smallholder farmers, as has been previously shown, and also some conservation areas like Bukit Duablas National Park. So what makes our approach a bit maybe different to traditional approaches is that we following kind of a data-driven one-on-one coaching methodology. So at Koltiva, we also have a small socialization group and good agriculture practice training in the beginning, but then what we move towards to is a kind of one-on-one coaching session. So we have mobile training coaching specialists, like you see in this photo, who go to the farm of the farmer and provide them a tailor-made coaching session based on their farm observation and also based on the data that has been previously collected through farm surveys. And next to this, farmers that are registered in this project, they can also access our Farm Cloud application, and there they can also access gamified mobile trainings where they can learn more about the good agricultural practices. And another part is that we also GPSNR and our clients also have access to the web application, and there they can basically track in real-time progress of our activities. So if we are saying we're going to do coaching this month and we are not doing this, then basically GPSNR and also our clients will see that right away. And since all this data is digitalized and collected, this also allows a few other scalability options like certification or traceability to plantation for parties involved in this project. So our approach is usually to start with a socialization to district and village level, and then do farmer mapping and farm assessment. So our field agents go and do a detailed farm assessment. And then after this, we have our coaching session, which is basically a one-on-one session with the farmer. Of course, our training and coaching specialists, they are also local agronomists, and before this, they're trained in a master training from our agronomists from Jakarta. And then after this, after a year, at least a year, we conduct another farm survey, where then the same survey is basically conducted, and the beginning is conducted again to see then also the increase in productivity and measure the increase in productivity and income. And at the same time, the farmer can access then the Farm Cloud application. So I take you a bit through this. These are some pictures from example pictures from rubber, but basically we have in the beginning, we have basically our socialization event and training event, which is kind of like a half-day event with the farmers, where farmers are socialized about this project and then trained on the basic agricultural practices. And this session is then recorded in our application. So we have the training record. And after this, our our field agents, because in field agents ICS, they conduct then a detailed farmer mapping and farm assessment. So they then visit all these farmers that take place in these socialization events and agree to participate in this project. And they conduct a detailed farm survey. This includes the number of trees, when the plantation was established. They look at if they find some pests and diseases. They will record this all in the application. They also takes a GPS coordinate of the application, so we know where the plantation is located of this farmer. And after this, we have our mobile training and coaching specialists who then provide tailor-made coaching sessions to the farmer. So, and these coaching sessions are individual. So if our training coaching specialist sees that, for example, there are some pests and diseases on this farm, then our coaching session will focus on this. And usually our coaching sessions is around 2 to 3 hours. And within this project, each farmer will receive 1.5 coaching sessions. So there are some of these farmers that will receive another visit, where we basically then follow up on an action plan that has been discussed during the first coaching session, and which is also recorded in our application. And as I mentioned already, at the same time, for farmers that do have a smartphone, which I'm aware is not always, not yet very common, But the farmers that do, they can download our Farm Cloud application and access gamified mobile trainings, as you see here on these screenshots, through our application to learn more and to repeat certain practices. But for the farmers that do not have a mobile application, they will also receive an agricultural calendar which summarizes the good agricultural practices and also provides them a way to plan their harvest activities for the upcoming months. And then after a year, we will conduct basically the first survey again. Our field agent will visit again the farmer and then conducts then again the detailed assessment to then see also if the project led to an adoption of good agricultural practices and hopefully increased also the income of the farmers. And this can then be automatically, when then GPSNR and our clients open the Koltiva rubber platform, they can then see how many farm surveys have been collected, how many farmers have been trained, and automatically can see if the average number of yield of the farmer has increased over the period of the project or not. At the same time, we also collect like a poverty probability index survey that can calculate the probability of farmers that are below a 1.2.5 or $2.5 threshold. And here it also then shows if there has been an increase or decrease of income within this project. I think that's already it from my side. Thank you very much, and looking forward to some questions from the GPSNR group. Thank you, everyone.
Yep, thanks so much, Luca. And we do have about 10 minutes for questions. Same, do feel free to type it in the chat or the Q&A, or you can raise your hand in the unmute. Go ahead. Yes, let me.
Yes,
Luca.
Luca.
You can.
Yeah, Luca, thank you very much. I've actually two questions. First of all, when it comes to the personalized training, does this mean that there is a bilateral exchange between a trainer and the farmer, or do you provide specific but standardized webinars concerning, for example, specific diseases? That's my first question. Yeah, and just to add the second question, and who is paying for that? Because your work is, I think, quite expensive, and as an expert, and who is covering those costs?
Okay. Yes. So our coaching session is one-on-one, and it's tailor-made to the needs. Yeah. So it's like, I mean, it's a about 2 hour session, and of course, not all agricultural practices can be covered in 2 hours. So we have basically training materials with different sessions that guides our training specialists, as you see here, we developed for the palm oil sector. And then depending on the needs of the farmers, maybe also the questions or the observations of our training and coaching specialists, then the coaching session will, for example, focus specifically on tapping, if the tapping is, for example, not done correctly, or if the training coaching specialist realizes that there is, for example, some pests and diseases, then the coaching session will actively engage in the farmer to address this. That would be the first question. I hope this answered clearly. I mean, as Suyan already mentioned, the project is financed, is the first project that is financed by GPSNR members, right? So behind this are tire manufacturers that are part of the GPSNR platform, and they make that happen. Yeah, and usually when we approach projects like this, Koltiva, we are also focused on the private sector. So we work along the supply chain. So we engage the tire manufacturer, maybe even their buyers or the processors, to then contribute to the project cost of this project, of these projects. Yeah, in this case, it's financed by two tire manufacturers.
That's it.
And
Thank you.
Thanks, Gerhard. Thank you, Luca. And Luca, we have some questions in the Q&A function. I think you can tackle those first.
Okay. Yeah, so I think the first question is, how many farmers do we reach? So we're planning to reach, train and coach 5,000 farmers, yeah, within 2 years. So this is of course a high number, but we have basically a field team of around 10 people who will do parallel the assessment, the farm assessments, and then also the coaching sessions during the project period. Then I think the second question is in French, and would need some.
Yeah, I'm just use Google Translate again. I believe the question is, does Koltiva intervene in the rubber industry in Côte d'Ivoire, and if so, in which regions?
Not yet, honestly speaking, but there's high interest, and we currently have already, I think, our first field person working on the cacao supply chain, but not yet rubber. But of course, since we established our office there, we are also now more and more expanding in other sectors, which includes rubber. Yeah. And then I think the second question, good farmer institution. Yeah, good farmer institutions. Yep, that's a good point. Isna, thank you for this question. I completely agree. Like farmer organizations, cooperatives are very, very important. When we go in these supply chains and work and socialize the project either through the local village government, but also maybe through connection from local rubber processors, then we try to engage then also our farmers through already existing farmer organizations. Yeah, so if there are already cooperatives or GPSNR in the area, then this would be, of course, they will be identified during this socialization phase, and then our socialization would be disseminated to them. What Koltiva also does is we work a lot with small traders and agents in the field, and actually engage them in the socialization activities and then socialize to their farmers. Yeah, so there we are trying to work along the supply chain and socialize the farmers on the supply chain, and engage with the small agents to then work together with their farmers and strengthen their farmers. So we are doing different approaches depending on the location, and also what has been realized during the socialization session, what is most effective, and where we are achieving highest success. Yeah.
Cheers, Luca. And there's one more question in the chat before we go to Pak Fabrice. I believe the question is the application available in Bahasa? Feel free to respond in Indonesian.
Ya, so kita punya semua aplikasi dalam bahasa, ya, aplikasi web juga aplikasi mobile dalam bahasa, ya. Kita ya mulai dari Indonesia dan perusahaan mulai di Indonesia, jadi ya.
Thanks, Luca. And Pak Fabrice, feel free to ask your question.
Oke, terima kasih Luca. atas semua yang telah dijelaskan. Saya melihat yang Anda paparkan itu semua banyak berbasis kepada teknologi. Nah, pertanyaan saya begini, itu petani Indonesia lah, khususnya yang bekerja di karet ini kan kerjanya di hutan-hutan, di pinggiran hutan, di tempat-tempat yang agak terpencil ke dalam, yang memang susah sekali untuk mendapatkan, kadang sinyal telepon itu pun susah. Nah, sampai seberapa yakin Anda itu bahwa yang program yang Anda tawarkan ini bisa menjangkau petani yang targetnya sampai 2 tahun itu sekitar 5.000-an. Karena satu lagi yang harus diapakan, petani kita itu tidak semuanya yang melek atau mengerti teknologi. Nah, coba sampai di mana keyakinan Anda bahwa program yang Anda tawarkan itu bisa menjangkau petani di pedalaman sekalipun. Karena kondisi misalnya signal teleponnya, signal handphone yang sulit, dan berbagai kondisi yang kurang enak lah di tingkat petani. Nah, terima kasih, Luca.
Terima kasih, Pak Feberius. Itu pertanyaan baik ya, sehr baik. Jadi satu hal yang harus dimengerti. Pertama, aplikasi yang kita pakai itu seperti tool ya. Kita gak lagi pakai kertas, tapi kita pakai aplikasi. Jadi kita masih kasih pelatihan langsung ke petani, field agent kita masih langsung berbicara dengan petani, kasih pelatihan, tapi yang training record kita masuk di aplikasi ya. Dan aplikasi kita juga fungsi seperti offline. Jadi jika field agent pergi ke lapangan, pergi ke kebun petani, dia masuk semua datanya, dan lagi ketika dia balik ke rumah, dia sync data. Jadi itu boleh kerja. Dan seperti yang sama itu dengan aplikasi Farm Cloud ya. Kamu petani bisa, yang cuma petani yang ada smartphone bisa akses ya. Dan saya highlight itu karena saya paham banyak petani belum ada smartphone ya. Dan field agent kita, mereka ajar bagaimana bisa gunakan. Mereka bantu petani, tapi akhirnya itu seperti proses panjang ya. Dan karena itu kita juga kasih ya kertas masih ke petani, di mana mereka juga bisa belajar sedikit terkait GAP dan juga bisa buat rencana untuk implementasi GAP di kebun mereka. Semoga jelas, Pak.
So sorry, just looking at time. We have one more. Sorry, Joe. Yeah.
No sound, Xian.
But Fabrice, I could hear. But let me try on that again. Yeah. We have one more question. You can try again. Yeah. Yes, Joe.
Gak tahu kalau apa.
Yeah, he was speaking in Bahasa, right? Oh, so Pak Fabrice, just now you need to change to Bahasa, not English. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Xian.
Yeah. Sorry, because Luca speak in Indonesian. Yeah. But we can get back to that. We have time for one last question. So one last question from Park Samson. Park Samson, you can ask your question and do try to keep it brief. Thanks. Park Samson. All right. Perhaps we can put a pause here and we can take any questions over WhatsApp or over email after this. Yeah. Well, thanks so much, Luca, and thanks so much, everybody, for the questions. Feel free to continue writing. Yeah. Thanks, Luca. All right. So thanks everybody again. We'll now go back to the rest of the webinar before we go back again to a final Q&A at the end. And this is a slight change of pace, but also overlaps between the Smallholders working group and the capacity building working group. So just a quick recap. As we all know, we did conduct 6 virtual hybrid workshops throughout last year in 6 countries, of which Cambodia, Sri Lanka, and India were new countries. And very happy that we work very closely with country champions such as Ibu Ilahang, Pak Fabius in Indonesia, and Roland in Koltiva. So very active membership across this process to organize workshops in spite of COVID-19. So from there, we increased our participation of smallholder members from 28 to 135 as of June 2022. And all of this is supported by the P4F Partnerships for Forest Grant, supported by the British FCDO. And in 2023, we have continued this outreach. We have conducted workshops in Liberia and Ghana in May, quite successful. And I think one interesting lesson from this was the importance, of course, as we all know, the importance of the physical face-to-face aspect. And particularly for Liberia, we had a smallholder himself who was facilitating and moderating the workshop. So that could be a model that we try to encourage for future workshops. And in Ghana, Simon Tete was very active in facilitating it on site as well. So it's very interactive workshops, physically done. And of course, we do have a brief lineup of workshops that we're aiming for. One key priority moving forward in the next 2 or 3 months would be outreaching to smallholders in Malaysia. We just had the first Malaysia country call last week together with GPSNR members from MRC, Malaysia Rubber Council, and MADEC. So hoping to have a workshop next sometime in August or September. So looking forward to those continuing engagements. A key update here, which we will also share in greater detail tomorrow, is a proposed new model for smallholders membership, which will be put up for voting as a resolution at the General Assembly in July. The background to this, it's a proposal that was discussed within the Smallholders Working Group and together with the 3 smallholder representatives on the Executive Committee. That's Pak Fabrice from Indonesia, Kun Sunton from Thailand, and Roland from Côte d'Ivoire. And the key objective here is to, before going into the final details, is to allow GPSNR to continue reaching out to smallholders and onboarding interested smallholders to become members without, potentially risking quorum requirements at the GA. So as a starting point, new smallholder members will be registered as affiliate members. And then current smallholder members, starting from this year, you have to register at the GA to retain ordinary membership, and subsequently to retain or to attain ordinary membership, smallholders should register to vote at each General Assembly. A quick roundup here. You can see the current model is that all smallholders register as ordinary, but in the new proposed model, smallholders will be categorized as affiliate, and then they register to take on ordinary membership. Yeah. And again, we just want to emphasize that in terms of participation at working groups or country level calls, of course, there's no difference. All views, smallholders, affiliate and ordinary, strongly welcome. The main difference at this point is the voting rights for the General Assembly. And of course, Pak Fabrius will share more about this tomorrow at tomorrow's General Assembly. And we are also organizing country calls to socialize this with smallholders more directly. So a quick roundup. This is the final slide of the plans for 2022 and 2023 for both capacity building and smallholders. As Gerhard mentioned just now, definitely we're looking at country level projects, moving ahead with that. Indonesia, definitely moving ahead with some other tenders for disease fighting and certified planting materials. And then as well, I guess I missed out here the other projects such as the digital knowledge sharing platform, which is also moving quite fast, and quite happy with that. again, Smallholders onboarding workshops, Malaysia, Cambodia, and I saw, yeah, thanks so much, Eric, for sharing that contact, and we will reach out. Yeah, I think that was mentioned also at the Smallholders working group. More specifically to the Smallholders working group as well, we are advancing progression on appointing consultants to develop a Smallholders policy equivalent framework. I believe this was requested at the GA 2 years ago. Yep, so we are developing that, and we are in the process of recommending a consultant to the Smallholders working group to begin that project in July. Another project to begin in July would be the pilot agroforestry workshop for smallholders. This is also a combination of requests, inputs, suggestions from smallholder members as well as members from the smallholders working group. So particularly such projects definitely have some overlap with the capacity building working group, which says it's a good progression. This year it's a pilot project, and depending on how it goes, we will look for more sources of funding or continuation beyond 2022. So yeah, and of course there are other projects. We always welcome members to propose projects at the working groups or at the country level groups, and subject to, of course, as always, capacity building or the Smallholders working group agreement and support. So yeah, those are the key highlights from both. Again, huge thanks to Luca and Ibu Ilhang for sharing so much detail about both projects. Really look forward to that. And I guess we can open the floor to any final questions from the audience. And if not, yeah, we will circulate the link to this webinar. So feel free to circulate it to other members or other colleagues in your organization. And feel free to drop us an email on any questions. If there are no questions, we can wait a few more minutes. Yep. Yeah, otherwise feel free to leave, and thanks so much again, everybody. Great discussions, and hope to see you again for the webinar tomorrow. Thank you so much, Luca and Ibu Ilhang.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, and
Have
thank
a
you
nice
very much,
evening.
everyone.
Yeah, thank you, Gerhard. Have a good day.
Thank
Bye.
you, Gerhard. Thank you, Luca. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very
Eric.
much.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
And thanks, Joe, for interpretation. Yeah. See you soon. Bye-bye.